Welcome to the Outer Banks, a ribbon of sand that extends from Corova at the Virginia border to the island village of Ocracoke, 130 miles to the south. Separated from the mainland by a series of sounds, the Outer Banks offers visitors beautiful beaches, verdant maritime forests, and breathtaking beauty.
We at the College of the Albemarle offer a hospitality leadership program designed to produce future leaders in our community. We created this video to familiarize students with the history, the geography, and the beauty of this region.
To anyone unfamiliar with the Outer Banks, learning your way around can seem confusing, but the basics are easy. The northern Outer Banks includes the villages of Corolla, Duck, Southern Shores, and the classic beach towns of Kitty Hawk, Kill Devil Hills, and Nags Head. Separating the northern Outer Banks from Hatteras Island is Oregon Inlet, the passage to the sea for most of the Outer Banks. Hatteras Island is a place of villages and small towns. The northern area is Pea Island National Wildlife Refuge. All of the beaches and the areas between the towns are part of Cape Hatteras National Seashore, the first national seashore in the nation. Let's begin at the graveyard of the Atlantic Museum in Hatteras Village, a museum working to preserve the memory of the many ships that foundered along the treacherous shoals of the Outer Banks. Leaving the parking lot, the Hatteras Ferry Terminal is the next turn in the road. A free ferry, the journey connects Hatteras Island and Ocracoke, an island that is only accessible by ferry. The Outer Banks offers extraordinary opportunities for outdoor activities. Canadian Hole between Hatteras Village and Buxton is world famous for its steady winds and flat water. The National Park Service maintains a parking lot with restrooms for the many visitors to the site. Long before the first European came ashore on the Outer Banks, Native Americans farmed, fished, and lived on these lands. The Frisco Native American Museum in Buxton brings the rich history of Native American cultures throughout the United States to life. The dense maritime forests of the Outer Banks were the home of the Algonquin peoples who inhabited these lands. The most iconic of American lighthouses, the Cape Hatteras Lighthouse, it soars to a focal plane 193 feet above the ground. Its black and white diagonal stripes and powerful beacon have warned mariners they are approaching the dreaded Diamond Shoals since 1870. Part of Cape Hatteras National Seashore, the lighthouse can be climbed in season. Nestled at the base of the Cape Hatteras Lighthouse, Buxton Woods is like no other maritime forest in the world, as temperate and semi-tropical plants thrive side by side. Buxton is located at the widest part of the Outer Banks, but the land quickly narrows as North Carolina State Route 12 heads north to Avon. In many ways, Avon is the commercial center of Hatteras Island, but to surfers, the shore break just to the south of Avon Pier offers some of the best surfing around. History surrounds us on the Outer Banks. At the Chickamaucomico Life Saving Station, the drills of the Life Saving Service are reenacted throughout the summer. The Life Saving Service was a predecessor to the United States Coast Guard. The Richard Etheridge Bridge crosses an area known as New Inlet, one of the many temporary inlets that open and close during the most severe storms. Richard Etheridge was the first African-American life-saving station keeper. He and his all-black crew manned the Pea Island Life-Saving Station. The northern tip of Hatteras Island is Pea Island National Wildlife Refuge. Since 1937, the refuge has provided a protected habitat for the seabirds and waterfowl of the Outer Banks. Opening just 2 years after the Hatteras Lighthouse, Body Island Lighthouse guided mariners through Oregon Inlet and warned them that they were approaching Wimble Shoals, part of Cape Hatteras National Seashore. The lighthouse can be climbed in season. Built in 1898, the Oregon Inlet Life Saving Station was manned until 1988 when it was replaced by Station Oregon Inlet U.S. Coast Guard on the north side of Oregon Inlet. Named for Manteo resident State Senator Mark C. Basnight, who was President Pro Tem of the North Carolina Senate from 1993 to 2010, the Mark Basnight Bridge spans Oregon Inlet. The 2.8-mile bridge opened in 2019 and won numerous design and engineering awards. At Whalebone Junction, US 64 begins and US 158 ends. While in Whalebone Junction, you'll see Jeanette's Pier. Extending 1,000 feet into the Atlantic Ocean, Jeanette's Pier offers extraordinary fishing and sightseeing opportunities to the public. Taking US 64 west, drivers use the Causeway and Washington Balm Bridge to get to Roanoke Island. On the north end of Roanoke Island, the English established the Lost Colony in 1587, the first attempt by the English to colonize the Americas. The 118 colonists disappeared without a trace. The outdoor drama, The Lost Colony, tells the story of the ill-fated attempt by the English to colonize the New World. It is the longest-running outdoor drama in North America. Also on Roanoke Island is the Dare County Airport and North Carolina Aquarium on Roanoke Island, where experienced divers can swim with sharks. Manteo, the county seat of Dare County, has a wonderful downtown with small shops and outdoor cafes. Manteo is connected to Roanoke Island Festival Park by a short bridge over Doe Creek. On the south end of Roanoke Island, Wanchese is a fishing village where most of the fresh fish that is so much of the Outer Banks experience is landed. Jockey's Ridge State Park in Nags Head is the most visited park in the North Carolina system, the tallest natural sand dune on the East Coast. Jockey's Ridge activities include hang gliding, kite flying, and a small beach area on the sound side that is perfect for small children. Although it is called Nags Head Woods, the Visitor Center is in Kildale Hills, part of the Nature Conservancy. This protected maritime forest includes surprisingly rugged trails and a path that tells some of the history of the families that once lived in Nags Head Woods. No visit to the Outer Banks is complete without stopping by the Wright Brothers Monument. It was here on December 17, 1903 that Orville and Wilbur Wright proved that we could fly. The National Park Service does a fantastic job of telling the story of that first flight. Most visitors arrive on the Outer Banks via the Wright Brothers Memorial Bridge, connecting Point Harbor on the mainland and Kitty Hawk on the Outer Banks. On weekends during peak season, it's one of the busiest bridges in the state. Behind the Outer Banks Visitors Bureau Visitor Center in Kitty Hawk, the monument to a century of flight is a testament to our collective need to explore the skies above us and beyond, built with the artistic vision of the late Outer Banks artist Glenn Eure. An iconic beach cottage, the Southern Shore's flat-top homes date from the late 1940s to the 1950s when artist Frank Stick and his son David needed an easy-to-build, well-designed home to offer to vacationers discovering the Outer Banks for the first time. The pace of life slows down in the village of Duck, where sidewalks and interconnecting paths make the town pedestrian and bike-friendly. The Duck Boardwalk offers memorable sunsets, fishing, and kayak access to Currituck Sound. Be sure to check out the Duck Jazz Festival in October. Built in the 1920s, the Whalehead Club is a beautifully restored Art Nouveau mansion. Inside, many of the original Tiffany lamps and furniture are part of a fascinating tour of the building. The Currituck Beach Lighthouse towers over the grounds. Its unpainted red brick, a daytime signal to mariners that they are passing the Currituck Banks. Operated by the Outer Banks conservationists, the Currituck Beach Lighthouse can be climbed. Nestled at the base of Currituck Beach Lighthouse, Corolla Village retains much of its original look and feel from the early 20th century. The One Street Village features locally owned craft and clothing stores and a fantastic bookstore. The Corolla Wild Horses, direct descendants of the Spanish Mustangs of the conquistadors, have lived on the Outer Banks for more than 400 years. Now living in the four-wheel drive area of Corova, seeing a stallion with his harem and a colt or two playing in the surf is a memory that will last a lifetime. Situated on the North Carolina-Virginia border, the isolated village of Corova is as far north as even beach drivers can go. The town's name is a tribute to its location on the border, C-A-R-O for Carolina and V-A for Virginia. While living in or visiting the Outer Banks, you may want to take a day trip as well. Places like historic Edenton, Museum of the Albemarle, downtown Hertford, or Camden County History Museum. Thank you for taking a quick tour of the Outer Banks with us. A fascinating place with so much to do that we couldn't include everything. During your time with us, take the time to discover what life on the sandbar is all about.